Exclamations and parentheses are silent. Punctuations adds meaning to words. Helps give cues as to what the author intended by a sentence. So let's read the above as 5 times print only, which is exactly what this small Ruby program does. Beck's mutated Spanish exclamation will print 5 times on the computer's screen. Beck's mutated Spanish. Huh. Then that's dead. Look into that later. Read the following aloud to yourself. Exit unless restaurant. Include aura. Here, we're doing a basic reality check. Our program will exit. The program will end unless the word restaurant contains and includes the word aura. 2025 kids are reading aura much differently than they were in 2005. Kids, we did not have this thing called aura farming or whatever you're calling it these days. Again, in English, exit unless the word restaurant includes the word aura. Ever since a programming language use of question marks so effectively, ever seen a programming language use question marks so effectively, Ruby uses some punctuation, such as exclamations and question marks, to enhance readability of code, or of the code. We're asking a question in the above code, so why not make this apparent? Read the following aloud to yourself. Toast, cheese, wine, each, food, print, food, capitalize. While this bit of code is less readable and sentence-like than previous examples, I'd still encourage you to read it aloud. While Ruby may sometimes read like English, it sometimes reads as shorter English. Fully translated into English, we might read the above as, with the words toast, cheese, and wine, take each food and print it capitalized. The computer then courteously responds as, toast, cheese, and wine. At this point, you're probably wondering how these words actually fit together. Smooch Kiss is wondering what dots and brackets mean. Who is Smooch Kiss? I'm going to discuss the various parts of speech next. All you need to know thus far is Ruby is basically built from sentences. They aren't exactly English sentences. They are short collections of words and punctuations which encompass a single thought. These sentences can form books. They can form pages. They can form entire novels when strung together. Novels can be read by humans, but also by computers. Very good point. The parts of speech. Just like the white strip down a skunk's back and the winding white train of a bride, many of Ruby's parts of speech have visual cues to help you identify them. Punctuation and capitalization will help your brain see bits of code and feel intense recognition. Your mind will frequently yell, "Hey, I know that guy!" You'll also be able to name drop in conversations with other Rubyists. Try to focus on the look of each of these parts of speech. The rest of the book will detail the specifics. I will give a short description of each part of speech. But do you have to understand the explanation? But you don't have to understand the explanation. Do you? Don't you? My brain read that as a question. By the end of this chapter, you should be able to recognize every part of a Ruby program. It's amazing that he actually, back in 2005, and I'm not sure if programming books did this prior to that, but he's going through we have to do everything first. And this is if you do any sort of programming anywhere, it kind of gets to this. Variables. Any plain lowercase word is a variable in Ruby. He didn't capitalize Ruby there. Variables may consist of letters, digits, and underscores. X, Y, banana 2, or phone a quail are examples. Variables like nicknames. Variables are like nicknames. Remember, when everyone used to call you Stinky Pete, people would say, "Get over here, Stinky Pete." Everyone would miraculously know or miraculously knew that Stinky Pete was you. With variables, you give a nickname to something you use frequently. For instance, let's say you run an orphanage, and it's a mean orphanage. And whenever Daddy Warbucks comes to buy more kids, we insist that he pay $121.08 for each kid's teddy bear, which the kid has become attached to over in the darker moments of living in such a nightmarish custody. Teddy bear fee equals 101.08. Later, you ring him up at the cash register. The cash register. A really souped up cash register which runs Ruby. Back in 1923, you'll need 1930s, not 1920s. You'll need to add together all his charges into a total. Total equals orphan fee plus teddy bear fee plus gratuity. I feel like Daddy Warbucks would not actually pay for this. Those variable nicknames sure help. In the steady underground of child sales, any help is appreciated, I'm sure. Man, his examples are weird. Shh. $121.08 ain't a bad teddy bear fee. Numbers. The most basic type of number is an integer. A series of digits which can start with a plus or a minus sign. 1, 23, or negative 10,000 are examples. Commas are not allowed in numbers, but underscores are. So, if you feel you need to mark your thousands so the numbers are more readable, use the underscore. That is something I've learned. I did not know you could do that, which makes me a bad programmer, I guess. Decimal numbers are called floats in Ruby. They're called floats most places. Floats consist of numbers with a decimal place or a scientific notation. Pi, I don't know what he's referring to with negative 808.08 or 12.043e negative 04 are examples. Strings, good old strings. Strings are any sort of character, letters, digits, punctuation surrounded by quotes, both single and double quotes. Byte rate bad, byte rate bad. Oh, make the byte rate better. Both single and double quotes are used to create strings. See Lab 2021 and these cartoons are hilarious are examples. When we enclose the characters in quotes, they're stored together in a single string. Think of a reporter who is jotting down the mouth noises of a rambling celebrity. I'm a lot wiser, says Avril. I'm a lot wiser, says Avril Lavigne. Now I know what the business is like, what you have to do, and how to work it. Avril Lavigne, right? Quoting equals quote equals this. That is a dated reference. So we're just stored the number of teddy bear fee variable. Now we're storing a collection of characters, a string, the Avril Lavigne quote variable. The reporter sends this quote to the printers, who just happen to use Ruby to operate their printing press. Print Oprah quote, print Avril quote, print Ashley Simpson debacle. Okay. We are in 2005, friends. We are. Say something loud. Maybe he'll use it in his examples. Like what? Chunky banana? Chunky bacon? Chunky bacon. Is that a 2005 quote? I don't have Lexdexia, but I'm pretty sure people think I do now. Symbols are words that look like variables. Again, they may contain letters, digits, or underscores, but they will start with a colon. A, B, colon A, colon B, or colon Ponce de Leon are examples. Symbols are lightweight strings. Usually, symbols are used in situations where you need a string, but you won't be printing it to the screen. You won't be printing it to the screen. You could say a symbol is a bit easier on the computer. It is like an antacid. The colon indicates the bubbles are trickling up from your computer's stomach as it digests the symbols. Ah, sweet relief. Chunky bacon! Chunky bacon! Constants. Constants are words like variables, and constants are capitalized. If variables are the nouns of Ruby, then think of constants as proper nouns. Time, array, and a bunny lake is missing are examples. Bunny lake. In English, proper nouns are capitalized. Empire State Building. You can't just move the Empire State Building. You can't just decide that the Empire State Building is something else. I think we can, depending on who we are. Ask King Kong. Proper nouns are like that. They refer to something very specific and usually don't change over time. In the same way, constants can't be changed after they are set. Empire State Building equals 355th Avenue, New York, New York. If we try to change the constant, Ruby will complain to us. Such things are frowned upon. Come on, seriously, chunky bacon. Chunky bacon. Chunky. Why do I want to say chunky? Chunky, chunky, chunky. Why did I read that as... Because that looks like an O there. And so my brain just went like that. Good old methods. Methods is variable. If variables and constants are nouns, methods are the verbs. Right. Methods are used to attach. This is what screws me up. Because the word method gets used interchangeably with other things as well. If variables and methods are the nouns, if variables and constants are the nouns, then methods are the verbs. Methods are usually attached to the end of variables and constants by a dot. You've already seen methods at work. Front door dot open. In the above, open is the method. It is the action, the verb. In some cases, you'll see the actions chain together. Front door open, close. Front door dot open dot close, I suppose. We've instructed the computer to open the front door and then immediately close it. Front door dot is open. The above is an action as well. We're instructing the computer to test the door to see if it's open. This method would be door dot test to see if it's open. But the is open name is succinct and just as correct. Both exclamation marks and question marks are used in method names. Method arguments. A method may require more information in order to perform its action. If we want the computer to paint the door, we should provide a color as well. Method arguments are attached to the end of a method. The arguments are usually surrounded by parentheses and separated by commas. So, front door dot paint, argument 3, red. The above paints the front door 3 coats of red. Think of it as the inner tube of a method that is pulling along, containing extra instructions. The parentheses from the wet, round edges of the inner tube. The comma are the feet around the argument. The comma are the feet of each argument, sticking over the edge. The last argument has its feet tucked under so they don't show. Interesting way of putting that. So in this case, are we talking about? I guess we're talking about the inner. Yeah, we're talking about the inner tube, as in you're kind of floating down the river type of inner tube. But all right, like pulling an inner tube, like pulling many inner tubes. Methods with arguments can be chained. Yeah, chaining. Door front paint 3 red, dry 30, close. The above paints the door through coats of red and dries in 30 minutes and closes the door. Even though the last method has no arguments, you can still put parentheses there if you like. But this is not the same as calling a function. Um, there's no using. There's no use dragging an inner tube, so the parentheses is normally dropped. Some methods, such as print, are kernel methods. These methods are used throughout Ruby. Since they are so common, you won't use the dot. Print. See? No dot. Class methods. Kind of did this before, but like the methods described above, also called instance methods. Class methods are usually attached after variables and constants. Rather than dot, it's a double colon. Sorry. Rather than a dot, it's a double colon instead. Door, colon, new, oak. Too much creatine, kids. As seen above, the new class method is most often used to create things. In the above example, we're asking Ruby to make a new oak door for us. Of course, Ruby has to have an understanding of how to make a door, as well as a wealth of timber and lumberjacks, those long, wiggly two-man saws. Chunky bacon, 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 chunky bacon. Global variables. Variables which begin with a dollar sign are global. $X, $1, $chunky bacon are examples. Most variables are rather temporary in nature. Some parts of your program are like little houses. You walk in and they have their own variables. In one house, you have a dad that represents Archie, a traveling salesman, and a skeleton collector. Another house, Dad could represent Peter, a lion tamer with a love for flannel. Each house has its own meaning for dad, and some houses have no dad at all. With global variables, you can be guaranteed that the variable is the same with every little house. The dollar sign is very appropriate. Every American home respects the value of the dollar. We're crazy for the stuff. Try knocking on any door in America and hand them cash. I guarantee you won't have to get the same reaction if you knock on a door and offer Peter, a lion tamer, with a great love for flannel. And offer Peter. Global variables can be used anywhere in your program. They never go out of sight. Yeah, we'll wrap the rest. We're gonna leave it there on global variables because Uncle John. That's a good place. That's a good place to stop it. Because I like this book. I really do. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. But this is just our little slice of life. But hey, to everybody watching, or anybody watching, hope you had a good time. Hope you learned something. Hope you had fun at least with this. It just makes me realize like we don't have enough just creativity in programming anymore. Everyone's like the mess around and play around and break and kind of play again nature of programming, I feel, maybe I'm wrong, is getting lost in people attempting to create the next biggest thing. But the next biggest thing is generally created through playing around. So, yeah. Have creativity like this. Get some chunky bacon stuff going. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. And yeah, hope I get to see some people on the next stream. See you.